RT just finished, huh? Oh, okay. So I should come a little earlier. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shivasi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hey. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hey bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Haribo, Haribo.
Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Haribo, 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 go to Haribo, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Haribo, Haribo.
Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Chandra Joya Gaura Bhakta Vinda.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hey bolo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Bolo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gaura Bhakta Vinda, Gaura Bhakta Vinda.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hey bola Gaura Bhakta Vinda, Gaura Bhakta Vinda.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare,
Haribo.
Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hari Bol.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Rama
Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda,
Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Bolo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitya Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Haribol, Nitai Gaur Haribol, Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mantra Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Okay. So today we're going to hear from personal and impersonal realization. This is from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 25. And it says, the Puranas are supplementary Vedic literatures because sometimes in the original Vedas, the subject matter is too difficult for the common man to understand. The Puranas explain matters by the use of stories and historical incidents. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.32, it is stated, Maharaja Nanda and the cowherd men and other inhabitants of Vrindavana are very fortunate because the Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead, is full of bliss and is now engaged there in his eternal pastimes as their friend. According to the verse beginning, Apani Pado Javano Grahita, Svatasvatara Upanishad 3.19. Although Brahman has no material hands and legs, he nonetheless walks in a very stately way and accepts everything that is offered to him. This suggests that he has transcendental limbs and is therefore not impersonal. One who does not understand the Vedic principles simply stresses the impersonal material features of the Supreme Absolute Truth and thus unceremoniously calls the Absolute Truth impersonal. The impersonal Mayavadi philosophers want to establish the Absolute Truth as impersonal, but this contradicts the Vedic literature. Although the Vedic literature confirms the fact that the Supreme Absolute Truth has multiple energies, the Mayavadi impersonalists try still to establish that the Absolute Truth has no energy. The fact remains, however, that the Absolute Truth is full of energy and is a person as well. It is not possible to establish him, meaning Krishna, as impersonal. According to the Vishnu Purana, the living entities are considered Kshetragya, energy. Although the living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and is fully cognizant, he still becomes entrapped by material contamination and thus suffers all the miseries of material life. Such living entities live in different ways according to the degree of their entanglement in material nature. The original energy of the Supreme Lord is spiritual and non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Krishna. The living entity is called the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, and the material energy is called the inferior energy. On account of his inert material inebriety, the living entity in the marginal position becomes entangled with the inferior energy matter. At that time, he forgets his spiritual significance, identifies himself with the material energy, and thereby becomes subjected to the threefold miseries. Only when he is free from such material contamination can he be situated in his proper position. According to Vedic instructions, one should understand the constitutional position of the living entity, the position of the Lord, the position of the material energy, and their interrelations. First of all, one should try to understand the constitutional position of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has an eternal, cognizant, blissful body, and his spiritual energy is distributed as eternity, knowledge, and bliss. In his blissful identity can be found his pleasure potency. In his eternal identity, he is the cause of everything. And in his cognizant identity, he is the supreme knowledge. Indeed, the word Krishna indicates that supreme knowledge. In other words, the Supreme Personality of Krishna is the reservoir of all knowledge, all pleasure, and all eternity. The supreme knowledge of Krishna is exhibited in three different energies: internal energy, marginal energy, and external energy. By virtue of his internal energy, he exists in himself with his spiritual paraphernalia. By means of his marginal energy, he exhibits himself as the living entities. And by means of his eternal energy, he exhibits himself as the material world. Behind each and every exhibition of energy, there is the background of eternity. His pleasure potency and his cognizance potency. The conditioned soul is the marginal potency overpowered by the external potency. However, when the marginal potency comes under the influence of the spiritual potency, it becomes eligible for love of Godhead. The Supreme Lord enjoys 6 kinds of opulences, and no one can establish that he is formless or that he is without energy. If someone claims so, his contention is completely opposed to the Vedic instructions. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of all energies. The living entity, however, being his infinitesimal part and parcel, can be overpowered by the material energy. In the Mundaka Upanishad, it is stated that 2 birds are sitting on the same tree. One of them is eating the fruit of the tree, while the other is not eating, but simply witnessing the activities of the first bird. Only when the bird eating the fruit looks toward the other bird does he become free from all anxieties. This is the position of the infinitesimal living entity. As long as he is forgetful of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is subjected to the threefold miseries. But when he looks toward the Supreme Lord and becomes the Lord's devotee, he becomes free from all anxieties and miseries of material existence. The living entity is eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is always the master of all energies, whereas the living entity is always under the control of the Lord's energies. Being qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, the living entity has the tendency to try to lord it over the material nature. However, being infinitesimal, he is then controlled by the material nature. Thus, the living entity is called the marginal potency of the Lord. Because the living entity can be controlled by the material nature, he cannot at any stage become one with the Supreme Lord. If the living entity were equal to the Supreme Lord, there would be no possibility of his being controlled by the material energy. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.5, The living entity is described as one of the energies of the Supreme Lord. Although inseparable from the separable from the energetic, energy is still energy, and it cannot be equal with the energetic. In other words, the living entity is simultaneously one with and different from the Supreme Lord. The Bhagavad Gita 7.4-5 clearly states that earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego are the 8 elementary energies of the Supreme Lord and are of inferior quality, whereas the living entity is an energy of superior quality. The Vedic instructions confirm that the transcendental form of the Supreme Lord is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. The impersonalist conception of the Lord's form, however, is just the opposite, for they say that it is a transformation of the material modes of nature. Actually, the form of the Supreme Lord is beyond the modes of material nature, and thus is not like the forms of this material world. His form is fully spiritual and cannot be compared with any material form. Anyone who does not accept the spiritual form of the Supreme Lord is counted among the atheists. Because Lord Buddha did not accept these Vedic principles, the Vedic teachers consider him an atheist. Although Mayavadi philosophers pretend to accept the Vedic principles because they do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they indirectly preach Buddhist philosophy or atheistic philosophy. Mayavada philosophy is inferior to Buddhist philosophy, which directly denies Vedic authority. It is more dangerous than Buddhism or atheism. The only reason Vyasadeva compiled the Vedanta Sutra was so that all the living entities could benefit from it by understanding the philosophy of bhakti yoga. Unfortunately, the Mayavadi commentary, the Sarirak Bhashya, has practically defeated the purpose of the Vedanta Sutra. In the Mayavadi commentary, the spiritual transcendental form of the Supreme Personality Godhead has been denied, and the Supreme Brahman has been dragged down to the level of the individual Brahman, the individual entity. Both the spiritual Brahman and the individual Brahman have been denied spiritual form and individuality, although it is clearly stated that the Supreme Lord is the one supreme living entity and the other living entities are the many subordinate living entities. Thus, reading the Mayavadi commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra is always dangerous. The danger is that through these commentaries, one may come to falsely equate the living entity with the Supreme Lord. In this way, a conditioned living entity can be falsely directed, and then he can never come to his actual position of eternal activity in Bhakti Yoga. In other words, the Mayavadi philosophers have rendered the greatest disservice to humanity by promoting the impersonal view of the Supreme Lord and thus depriving human society of the real message of the Vedanta Sutra. From the very beginning of the Vedanta Sutra, it is accepted that the cosmic manifestation is a display of the Supreme Lord's energies. The aphorism, Janmadasya Yata, Vedanta Sutra 1.1.2, describes the Supreme Brahman as he from whom everything emanates, he by whom everything is maintained, and he into whom everything is dissolved. He meaning Krishna. Thus, the absolute truth is the cause of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. The cause of a fruit is the tree, but when a tree produces a fruit, one cannot say that the tree is impersonal or that it vanishes. The tree may produce hundreds and thousands of fruits, but it remains as it is. The fruit is produced, and then it develops, stays for some time, dwindles, and finally vanishes. This does not mean that the tree also vanishes. Thus, from the very beginning, the Vedanta Sutra explains the doctrine of byproducts. The activities of production, maintenance, and dissolution are carried out by the inconceivable energy of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the cosmic manifestation is a transformation of the energy of the Supreme Lord, although the energy of the Supreme Lord and the Supreme Lord himself are non-different and inseparable. A touchstone may produce great quantities of gold in contact with iron, but still the touchstone remains as it is. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, despite his producing the huge material cosmic manifestation, always remains in his transcendental form. The Mayavadi philosophers have the audacity to reject the purport of what Vyasadeva explained in the Vedanta Sutra and to say he attempted to establish a doctrine of transformation of the Supreme, which is totally imaginary. According to the Mayavada philosophy, the cosmic manifestation is an illusory transformation of the absolute truth and has no separate existence outside the absolute truth. Truth and has no separate. This is not the message of the Vedanta Sutra. The cosmic manifestation has been explained by Mayavadi philosophers as false, but it is not false. It is temporary. The Mayavadi philosophers maintain that the absolute truth is the only truth and that this material manifestation known as the world is false. Actually, this is not so. The material manifestation of this, the material manifestation is not false. It is truth, but because it is relative truth, it is temporary. Pranava, or Omkara, is the chief sound vibration found in the Vedic hymns, and it is considered to be the sound form of the Supreme Lord. From Omkara, all Vedic hymns have emanated, and the world itself has also emanated from this Omkara sound. The vibration Tattvamasi, also found in the Vedic hymns, is not the chief vibration, but is an explanation of the constitutional position of the living entity. Tattvam Asi means that the living entity is a spiritual particle of the Supreme Spirit, but this is not the chief motive of the Vedanta Sutra or the Vedic literature. The chief sound representation of the Supreme is Omkara. All these faulty explanations of the Vedanta Sutra are considered atheistic. Because the Mayavadi philosophers do not accept the eternal transcendental form of the Supreme Lord, they are unable to engage in real devotional service. Thus, the Mayavadi philosopher is forever bereft of Krishna consciousness and Krishna's devotional service. The pure devotee of the personality of Godhead never accepts the Mayavada philosophy as an actual path to transcendental realization. The Mayavadi philosophers hover in the moral and immoral material atmosphere of the cosmic world, and are thus always engaged in rejecting and accepting material enjoyment. They have falsely accepted the non-spiritual as the spiritual, and as a result, they have forgotten the eternal spiritual form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as well as his name, qualities, and entourage. They consider the transcendental pastimes, name, form, and qualities of the Supreme to be products of material nature. Because of their acceptance and rejection of material pleasure and misery, the Mayavadi philosophers are eternally subjected to material misery. The actual devotees of the Lord are always in disagreement with the Mayavadi philosophers. Impersonalism cannot possibly represent eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Being situated in imperfect knowledge of liberation, the Mayavadis decry the eternality, knowledge, and bliss of the devotees as materialism because they reject devotional service. They are unintelligent and unable to understand the effects of devotional service. The word jugglery they use in an attempt to amalgamate knowledge, the knowable and the knower, simply proves that they are unintelligent. The doctrine of byproducts is the real purport of the beginning of the Vedanta Sutra. The Lord possesses innumerable unlimited energies, and he displays the byproducts of these energies in different ways. Everything is under his control. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also the Supreme Controller, and he is manifested in innumerable energies and expressions. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is a very long and very profound purport. And our takeaway from all this is the following. Tattvamasi means that the living entity is a spiritual particle of the Supreme Spirit or Supreme Lord. But this is not the chief motive of the Vedanta Sutra or the Vedic literature. The chief sound representation of the Supreme is Omkara. Okay, so Omkara, actually material creation begins by the Omkara vibration, Om. And everything comes gradually from that. However, the transcendental position of a devotee is that he is completely surrendered to Krishna and has no desire for sense gratification, no desire for being, let's say, a sense gratifier. He controls his senses. He always chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This mantra puts him directly in touch with Krishna. Therefore, he doesn't have to go through so many different, let's say, situations in the material world. He goes directly to Krishna through the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and becomes eligible to go back to the spiritual world. Otherwise, people will unnecessarily say or engage in reciting so many different mantras and so many different philosophies, and basically they waste their time, waste their life, and never really become free from the cycle of birth and death. If you want to get free from the cycle of birth and death, you should always chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with great faith and dedication to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should not be interested in the demigods. One should not be interested in any mystical so-called activities. The real activities are devotional service with complete dedication to the Lord and surrendered completely to the service of the Lord. Then one becomes a genuine person that is free from all false concepts and theories. One understands the absolute truth is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and very happily chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You don't have to chant any other mantra. This is the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the great mantra of liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So it's very easy. Everything is made easy by the Vaishnava acharyas in the present age. Previously, it was much more difficult, but because this is the worst age to live in, the Vaishnava acharyas have made tangible spiritual advancement very easy. You simply have to give up meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, and take up chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, this supreme mantra that glorifies Krishna, and eat only Krishna prasadam, and hear lectures given by genuine devotees, and go on Harinam Sankirtan and spread the knowledge of Krishna consciousness to the great masses who are living in ignorance. Then one makes tangible spiritual advancement and also is beneficial to every person he encounters and gives them a chance also to be Krishna conscious. So in this takeaway for today, it says, the pure devotee of the personality of Godhead never accepts the Mayavada philosophy as an actual path to transcendental realization. Okay, so let's discuss what it means, Mayavada philosophy. Obviously, there are different philosophies in the world today. The Mayavadis believe that Krishna doesn't exist. They've made a false, fake philosophy that misleads people, so many people. But in the Vaishnava philosophy, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that when someone surrenders to Krishna, he overcomes all the, you could say, obstacles to going back to Godhead. However, if you follow Mayavad philosophy, you'll never be free from material nature. You'll be completely a victim of illusory concepts. These illusory concepts cheat people out of the truth and keeps them always in misery and repeated birth and death. The Hare Krishna mantra can liberate one almost immediately from the cycle of birth and death and will lead one on the right path of devotional service to Lord Krishna. That means that one is properly situated and will quickly become qualified to go back to the spiritual world. Okay, so are there any questions anyone would like to ask or comments? Any questions? Don't be afraid to ask a question. You got a question? No? Okay. You got a question, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
So it is said that living entity is of same quality with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right?
What?
Same living entity has the same quality of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So God has spiritual energy. So living entity, God has spiritual energy and material energy. So living entity also has spiritual energy and material energy. So what is our material energy? Living entity is material energy.
Well, you have a spirit soul. That's what's giving you life, right? But that spirit soul now is covered by the material energy.
But we cannot use it for any external thing. That's
What do you mean?
I mean, God
You can't
can,
use your spiritual energy for anything
I
external?
cannot create a material thing from externally.
No. If you use your material body in the service of God, it becomes spiritualized. If you use your body only for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, it becomes only a material body with no spiritual, let's say, potency. Obviously, if you're always only eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, there's no Krishna consciousness involved. But when you use your body in the service of Krishna, now your body becomes spiritualized because you're using the matter of your body to serve the Lord. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? That was a good question. Thank you very much. Yeah. Anything you use in the service of Krishna becomes spiritualized. Now, you might say, "Oh, wait a minute. I have food, and I eat every day. Are you saying that my food becomes spiritualized?" Well, yes, if you offer it first to Krishna, and then Krishna offers it back to you as his prasad, that has become spiritualized. If you just sit down and eat, there's no spiritual benefit. So as long as we minus Krishna in everything we do, there is no spiritual potency present. But if everything is plus Krishna in your life, everything becomes spiritualized. So therefore, we should never minus Krishna. We should always plus Krishna. Now, how do you plus Krishna? Well, you can recite Bhagavad Gita. You can chant Hare Krishna. You can engage in devotional service. You can always be in the company of genuine devotees. Therefore, you are plus Krishna. You put Krishna into everything you do. But if you minus Krishna, like most people, then you become miserable. In that miserable state, everything goes wrong in your life. Look how many people are destroying their lives by what you would call, what is the name of that thing? Well, the different drugs that they take nowadays. It destroys their lives. Fentanyl. Yeah. It's horrible. Completely destroys a person. Right? Now, why would they take fentanyl? Because they're minus Krishna. If they're Krishna conscious, they would never touch anything like fentanyl. But they're completely illusioned by Maya, and therefore they self-destruct That's what happens when you take fentanyl. You self-destruct. And they can't stop until, and they will quickly die, by the way. Fentanyl, it can kill you almost overnight. It's very, very dangerous. A lot of people die from using fentanyl. But still, they use it. And plus, it's very cheap. And plus, it's a little tablet like that, right? And it's very cheap. And you take it, you can die almost immediately. It depends on your physical situation. But many times, just by taking one little tablet of fentanyl, people die. Is that right? Yeah. One little tablet like that, you can die. But yet, every year, thousands of people in the United States die from overdosing on fentanyl. You would think they would stop, but no, they don't stop. And you see them. I mean, we don't go to the places where you see it, but if you go downtown Seattle, you'll see a lot of people that are.
It's there in YouTube also. They explain their experience. They are actually helpless.
Yeah.
They cannot go to hospital. No one is taking care of them. So they are taking again.
If you take fentanyl, it puts you in a state where you'll just you just sit or lay on the ground or just slump over for hours and hours. And I've seen people like that. They're usually downtown Seattle. And it's so sad to see them in that situation. Very, very sad. They should come and listen to Bhagavad Gita. They can get free of their misery. But no, they won't do it. They won't do it. They're completely... Well, anyway, why don't you look up now on your telephone. How many people are dying of fentanyl overdose in the United States? You're going to see thousands. See, there used to be marijuana. Yeah, I mean, people are smoking marijuana, but you don't die so quickly smoking marijuana. But fentanyl, my God, you can die right away. Jai Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. Yeah.
They try to give her fentanyl for the pain for childbirth.
Oh my God.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
This is almost 6 years ago. So this is a long time ago.
Good thing she didn't take it.
Yes, very good thing.
Well, obviously, they use it as a painkiller. But it is a killer, though.
More of a killer than a painkiller.
Yeah, right. What's it say about fentanyl?
In 2021, around 70,600 people died.
In the United States?
Yeah.
70,000, over 70,000 people.
Yes.
That's a lot of people in 1 year. You see how dangerous it is? But people, and what year was that?
2021.
2021. That's like, what, 5 years ago or
Yeah.
something? Yeah. And it's still going on. It hasn't stopped. So it's very dangerous. Okay, well, this is our takeaway for today. Our takeaway for today is don't take fentanyl. Stay away from it. Don't touch it.
Actually, Maharaj, both material energy and spiritual energy, both are enjoyable. But spiritual energy gives the
It's not an intoxicant.
intoxicant. But people just want to enjoy. which is easily available. Maybe just
It's because of ignorance. You know, people are engaging in sense gratification, which, you know, becomes addictive sex. They're engaging in addictive sexual behavior. And eventually they go from marijuana to fentanyl. It's a real dangerous thing to do. And then they're so drugged up that they have no self-control. And it's very sad, very, very sad. I remember many years ago, I had a friend of mine. He was a Jewish boy, but a very nice boy. But he got hooked on to drugs. And we would study with study together, right? But at one point, he stopped studying. He would always sit with me when I was studying, but he'd be shooting himself up with drugs while I'm sitting next to him and studying. He gave up studying, and he completely, trashed his life. And, I tried to convince him, you shouldn't do this, He said, no, I can't help it. I need to do it. Very sad. Very, very sad. So, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. You don't need anything else. All you need is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and Srila Prabhupada's purports in his books. That's all you need. You don't need anything else.
nowadays government is giving for free
Fentanyl?
because to reduce the crime, they are giving it for free so that those who are addicted to it will
They go to sleep easily. No, it's terrible. It's very, very bad. Okay, well, now we know our lesson today is don't touch fentanyl. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Our takeaway for today is the following. The Lord possesses innumerable unlimited energies, and the Lord displays the byproducts of these energies in different ways. Everything is under his control. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also the Supreme Controller, and he is manifested in innumerable energies and expansions. Now you see, that's just a few lines, but in those few lines, if you follow what it says, then you can spend the rest of your life trying to understand, and you will understand, the multi-energies of the Supreme Lord, and how to recognize the transcendental qualities of the Lord, by which you become purified, by understanding the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So we should gradually read as much as we can and hear as much as we can about the glories of the Vaishnava Acharyas. They are real people because they have learned how to use all their assets, intelligence, and so forth, in the service of Krishna. They are real people. And if we associate with such people, we will also become bona fide devotees or real people. And our life will be a success. Hare Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, I think we'll stop right there unless there are other questions or comments. Any questions or comments? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.